Great, Coach. Overall, what do you take from tonight's game to get the win?
I mean, it was great. It was a really, obviously a team win with the way that our bench units came in and kind of clicked and pushed us over the edge at the end there. But I was very pleased with the way we played. We played with a lot of purpose tonight. Some of the small things that have been bothering us, we were a bit better at. Still got ways to go. Really like the offense. We created a lot. We got to the rim a lot. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well to start, but I think there's more threes to be found in our offense too. So I'm encouraged by the growth that I see that we can make.
You have about 8 different guys with double-digit scoring.
Yeah.
Just throughout, what do you make from kind of that sharing the ball aspects, just as far as the scoring goes, I guess? But are you satisfied with?
I mean, yeah, we had a lot of drives to the hoop tonight. 24 assists of 46 buckets. Where normally our percentage is a lot higher than that. But I thought we created a lot of open shots. If those go down, then those are assisted buckets. So, but yeah, that'll come. But in general, we looked organized. We looked like we had purpose, and that's what we're trying to do tonight.
What did you like best about tonight's game tonight?
Yeah, I thought we had a complete game. He rebounded well. I mean, 9 rebounds. He hadn't been rebounded traditionally like that. Thought he played under control. He got to the rim early, created late, played a real complete game for us.
You went with Nas to start the fourth quarter, and then closing out. Obviously, he gave you a nice little boost. What was the thought process going with him there as the lone man?
Yeah, I just was like, maybe when Ant got in foul trouble, kind of messed up our rotations a little bit. We played Cat all the way through, and I just felt like if we could steal some minutes with Rudy down, and I was going to try to bring Cat and Rudy back at the same time, and then try to finish the game there in the middle of the fourth. And Nas was great, so we didn't have to do that. Particularly proud of Nas because his role this year is going to be like that. Some nights he comes in, and some nights he won't. And staying ready is always hard, but it's a sign of a great professional.
Talking about the foul trouble there with Ant. I mean, What did you see from him? He was telling me he didn't want to come out of the game. I know.
Yeah, I mean, he never wants to come out of the game. That's most guys these days. But yeah, it was. We just needed to. We have options now to be able to go different directions when we come. So I just left Cat the whole time, which was good because he found a little bit of a rhythm too.
Awesome. John, go ahead.
Hey, Chris, both the last 2 nights when you went to Ant with that bench group, does it seem like they have just a little bit more ball movement, that they just kind of move it a little bit more the way that you want to see this group do?
Yeah, I mean, of course they move it well. They're most comfortable because they've all played in the system previously and they played together. The first unit's still a work in progress, but it's better. I thought it was really good tonight. And we've been starting games really well. We hadn't been doing that in the preseason, so it's just kind of as we go through like these different units and guys maybe playing with Rudy and just kind of it's all a learning curve for us right now. So.
And then with Nas, is just, I mean, the energy that he seems to bring and the activity, is that one of the strong suits when you go to him in those spots?
Yeah, he's a good, he's a good roller. He's a very different roller than Rudy. Rudy sets great screens and rolls, but Nas is like slips them, and he's way more dynamic and just kind of also his ability to stretch the floor. He gets a lot of clean looks, so he does a great job of mixing up his rolls and his pops. So that's a dynamic. Like every big brings a little bit different dynamic. So,
Chris, go ahead.
It's early in the pre-training camp. We were talking about how the plan was to keep Rudy and Carl on the floor, one of them on the floor at the same time. Is maybe it's, at least early on, is the success. How you plan it at all?
Yeah, so you cut out after keep one of those guys on the floor at the same time.
Yeah. Is it kind of making you maybe rethink how you attack rotations, the success of that unit that was out there for the fourth quarter?
No, not really. I mean, at this point in time, everything's pretty fluid. That's one. Two is, we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of guys who play and help us in different ways. So we're not set in anything right now. And we're going to continue to work through those situations just until we feel like we have combinations of guys that we like, rather than, a whole lineup. So maybe 2-3-man groupings.
And with Nas, you mentioned, there's some nights where, he might not play. I think we saw that in the opener. How is he adjusted to that? And have you kind of communicated that to him that?
Well, yeah.
Gonna be.
Yeah, I've told him, we've communicated, we talked about it. If tonight is any indication, I would say he adjusted well. He played a lot for us last year, had a very important role. And he did a good job accepting the fact that he played behind an all NBA center, and that was meant he would get 14 to 18 minutes a night most nights. And then this year, our backup five happens to all be the same all NBA center. So we try to find a minutes to 4. Now with Kyle a little banged up, and it looks like we might be able to do that. So he's just got to stay ready and stay professional. And again, I'm very proud of him because I know how much he had a great season, and I know how much he wants to be a major contributor to our team.
Jace?
Probably knew this before, but through 3 games, Rudy looks like one of those guys who's always doing the right thing and doing it hard. Is the hope kind of that just sinks into everybody else over time?
Yeah, I think, it comes from a winning program that won a lot, great coaching, great foundation. He's played a lot of high-level basketball. He knows that you build those habits by doing them all the time, even in game 3. And, that's what we talked about. One of our goals was like maturing as a team. All the guys we brought in, they all have that approach. And I can see it rubbing off in a lot of different ways. It's just going to take a little time for it to really sink in.
I'm sure you hammered home that importance at halftime of starting the third strong, and it didn't, and you guys rebounded from there. But what do you think has to happen, or what seems to fall off in your mind in those first few minutes of the third quarter?
Well, we don't score it. We missed a bunch of shots, and Ant missed a layup that he was making, just flipped out on him. We probably don't have quite the same zip to our offense coming out of the third. Maybe it's early season legs. Sometimes when you exert, I thought the second quarter was really fast. Like I was watching our guys run up and down the floor at one point, and I know that they were really tired. So sometimes when coming out of halftime, after you've sat for a little bit, it's really hard to find that second wing. Maybe that's it. But we responded. We knew they were going to come back and make a little bit of a run. I think what we got to do a better job is protecting our first half leads like that we're building. Those are the ones that if we had a little bit better cushion sometimes, I think we'd be able to sustain some of that.
Dan?
Sorry about that. Chris, you mentioned earlier that there's more threes to be found in the offense.
Yeah.
Where would you like to find those without forcing them?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see Cat, take way more than 3 a game. I think that's a spacing thing too. Sometimes he gets caught in between, not necessarily posting, he's kind of rolling a half switch. If he gets back out on the floor for the driving kick opportunities, I think those will find him. I thought Jaden turned down a couple of good looks. I thought even Ant turned down a bunch early, but he had his driving game going, so I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, and Jalen Noel's got to find his stroke. He's getting clean looks out there for us. They're just not going, but we know he's a good shooter, so we feel like that'll happen.
And then it looks like, particularly tonight, that the opponent is trying to do as much as they can to pull Rudy out from around the rim, which I'm sure we'll see a lot this season. Are there ways that you can use that to your advantage?
The ways that we can use that to our advantage when they pull Rudy out.
Yeah, they were having Kenrich Williams kind of initiate from the top, right, when he wasn't doing that, when Rudy wasn't guarding him. just seems
Yeah.
like they're being intentional. Like what is the best way for you guys to handle when the matchup dictates Rudy being a little bit more perimeter oriented?
Yeah, I mean, when, someone gives you five spread guys, then, it gets a little bit trickier, but, just try to keep switching Rudy's matchup. One thing I can do is you can keep switching Rudy's matchup, so it maybe keeps them a little bit off balance too. I mean, if they're doing a lot of bastard things on offense, they're probably not playing in the rhythm that they want. And I think, we can always zone. I thought the zone looked good tonight, something that we're gonna commit to doing more of. So I think there's some things we can do there. And then we just gotta get good at flipping the matchups on the weak side as much as we possibly can.
Last question, Greg.
Chris, it seems like one of the things that can happen when you have that fourth quarter unit that you sent out there with Ant and high octane bench, it's a way to counteract the physicality that you're going against. If you have crisp ball movement and that high pace, it seems like it's hard to get into the kind of slugfest that teams have been trying to do to you with the starters out there. And I'm just wondering if there's a way, in addition to just being physical back, you also can have a pace that counters physicality that way.
You talking about with our first unit or just in general?
Well, I mean, I'm talking about what the fourth quarter unit did in terms of, it was really hard to be physical with a team that was moving the ball that way and shooting that well and just being that unselfish.
Yeah, I think, again, I think our first unit has, 3 high usage guys in it. And that's gonna lead to some stickiness. But I thought tonight they did a really good job, particularly early, of setting the tone. It's just maintaining that. That's what we haven't done well when the games have tightened up. I think at that point, kind of guys revert to the type, and they're all guys who've always been able to create and make their own shots a lot of times. So just something we gotta be mindful of, but for sure, the second unit sets the tone on how we like to play. The first unit, it'll take some time. It'll definitely take some time, and but I see, like I said at the beginning, I see some really encouraging things.
Awesome, thanks, Coach.
All right.
That's overall just how good was it for the team to get back on the win column this kind of way tonight?
Oh, really good. I think we lost a game that we shouldn't have lost in the Utah game. We just didn't take the proper steps that we were supposed to take, and we built on it today, and we got to do it again tomorrow.
Ant gave you a lot of praise post game, and overall, just Coach Finch had to say the same. How do you feel about your role and really how you've stepped into it this season in a different way?
Just staying ready. That's the biggest thing, is staying ready, being positive on the bench, cheering my teammates on. I think it's full circle. It's gonna come back around. It's me being patient, and those expectations are high still at the end of the day. So I'm still going out there and do what I do. So,
John, go ahead.
Is it hard to be patient sometimes, or how do you kind of manage that part of it?
it is hard to be patient at times, but knowing that the given the skill set I have and I've been working on and things like that, it is hard at times, but it's all part of the game. It'll come back for me even better in the long run. You just got to be patient and just being honest to the game and true to it.
Coach was saying that he thought that the group that you guys were playing with there at the start of the fourth quarter, a lot of the success was that a lot of you have real familiarity with this system. Just how do you feel of playing with that group, and why do you think that one does work so well for you guys?
I mean, that group that has been in is one. That group was in Iowa together, and me, Jalen, J Max, and with Nate coming in, we've all been a part of the system. We're all like friends, like best friends outside of the basketball. So it all gelled. It all just compared into one, and we just get the job done. We know the stakes and things like that when we go out there. So we know what to do.
Chris, go ahead.
Now, as Coach Finch was telling us about how he communicates to you that looks, some nights there might not be minutes for you there. How have you kind of taken that sort of talk and how your role is maybe going to be different or not there on a night in, night out basis?
It's tough, going out there. I mean, you just, you're trying to treat your teammates on things like that. It gets tough, but it's all part of the process. I've been in worse predicaments before. I mean, I'm able to tug it out and do what I do. Once I go in the game, at the end of the day, everybody on this team still believes in me, and that's the biggest thing. And they all, support me, whether it's in the game, on the bench, whatever the case may be. So we're still one. So it doesn't matter. It's not about my minutes. It's about how far we get and things of that nature.
Are you maybe in a better place or understand that better at this point in your career than maybe a few years ago?
Yeah, a lot more. This is my 4th year, so in my rookie year, I kind of just was like, why am I not playing this, that, and the third? And, you just got to understand the business and things of that nature. And like I said before, it's all full circle to come back around. Just got to be patient. Still do everything, every little detail, everything matters still.
Jace, go ahead.
Hey, Nas, the fact that, you've played 2 games in a row now, like, is that a good reminder that even if you're not in the initial plan, like, you really could be leaned on more heavily than you might think on any given night?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whether it's to weather a storm, whether it's, finishing off the games where we might have a back-to-back, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna show up and show out and do what I do and show that, the skill set that I worked on this summer, and show that I belong in this league, and show that, everything matters, and I'm here to prove that everything matters, and everything I do is gonna show.
Dane?
Nas, you came onto this team 4 years ago with Jalen Noel. This is his first time he's really getting that consistent night in, night out opportunity. I think he's averaged like 15 a night. Where have you seen the most growth from him?
His mental, like, from when we first came in, he was kind of like me, like, we were kind of like each other. And I think his mental, like, to just, go out there and do what he do, and that's get buckets, like, and he knows that, and everybody else knows that. So it's like, once he gets the ball, it's like, just be you, Jalen. Like, don't overthink the game, don't overthink, whatever you have to do, just do what you got to do, and you know what you're here to do. So I would say his mental.
Thank you.
Brett?
Nas, when you have 3 floor spaces out there with you and J-Mac, is that pick and roll just really easy in terms of the fact that you can either finish or have all kinds of kick out options there? I mean, it seems like floor spacing, you and J-Mac have always been aces on that pick and roll anyway, but having all those options, or, at least 2 of them at, knock down 3-point shooters, it's a nice 5, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good vibe. I mean, we all know each other's games as well, and especially me and J-Mac, we've grown into these 4 years tremendously. Each year we've gotten better. Each year we've been able to make a different read or whatever case may be for the team. J-Mac's a tremendous player to me. Like, I could compliment him all night if I had to. I mean, smart. He's just J-Mac for real, man. And he goes in with the same mentality, staying ready. I kind of get it from him, to be honest. Just staying ready, being patient, and going out there and does what he does. So I would say, like, me just complimenting him and him complimenting me is just something that we've been doing for the last 4 years now.
We'll go last one to Kate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, now you get this win going into your first back-to-back tomorrow. It's gonna be kind of key to getting to be game ready 24 hours from now, less than 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, even when it comes in treatment, like rest for that matter, like you'll have to get rest tonight when we get home, get our minds right, get our bodies prepared for another one. I mean, it's part of it. It's part of our job. We know what we come here to do, so we gotta go out there and do what we do.
Obviously, the opener wasn't your best performance. Dort's has earned a rep as one of the best defenders in the league. Does that give you anything extra coming in this game?
Nah, I just played bad versus on the first game. That was the only thing.
So you don't have any extra juice coming in, come in with like anything extra to prove in a game like this?
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, today I did because of how I performed worse than the previous time. So yeah, for sure.
What did you like best from your game tonight?
Just I didn't stop. I just kept on. Like sometimes I get to a point and I'm like, all right, I'm cool. Yeah, I just didn't stop. I kept on.
And when you're able to get downhill, you're able to get in the lane. What does that do in terms of kind of giving you options and like it's with the jump shot? And how do you kind of decide when to keep attacking, when to pull up?
I think off the catches when I attack more, and then like if I'm in an ISO situation and they load up, that's when I'm gonna take my jumper. But tonight it was kind of like in a mix of both. But I like the way that I was attacking, so I tried to stay within that.
John, go ahead.
And you told us the other night that you did plan to just keep going and that you weren't gonna stop anymore and go into that lull. How do you get that in your mindset in the game to just keep yourself with your foot on the gas?
I just tell myself I ain't tired because right now I'm trying to get in better shape. So I'm out there running up and down. Coach gives me a break. I try to get all my energy back because the first 2 games I would come out and I'd be super tired. I'd come back in and be tired. So right now I'm trying to get in good shape, and I think I'm getting there. So I'm just trying to keep going.
And how fun is it to watch Nas do what he does? I mean,
Exciting. I just told him in the locker room. I said, you nice, Nas. You nice. Like how you come in the game. Like I don't even think I have that in me to come in the game. I haven't played the entire game in the 4th quarter, and I go 5 for 7 and score 14 points. Am I right? Wait, let me see.
Yep.
I go 5 for 7 and score 14 points and help us create a lead to where they can't come back. I haven't seen anybody like Nas in a minute.
And not just the scoring, but he made the nice play too, right? I mean, he can do other things than get a bucket. He found.
Man, he did everything for us. He was protecting the rim. He was rebounding. He was boxing out. He was low man. He took advantage of his opportunity, man, and you can't ask for nothing better.
Chris, go ahead.
And we were talking about that kind of smaller lineup, the lineup that you guys had in the 4th quarter the other night. And what are maybe some things that you can take from that lineup that maybe you'd like to see starters do?
I mean, that line, we just sharing the ball. We don't care who shoot. It's just fun out there, man. Like, especially like I love to see my teammates shine, man. So I don't mind like passing up my open shot for the open shots. And I think that 5 that was on the floor was the same way. And I think that's why we kind of grew that lead that we had.
Thanks.
Jace, go ahead.
And J-Mac just edged you for the plus-minus lead tonight. I think he has the best plus-minus on the team all year. Why is that always the case with him?
I mean, because he always come out there and make the right play. And every time he steps on the court, we look better as a team, man. I mean, you can't ask for nothing better. He should be leading us in plus-minus. And he had higher than me. He was 23, I was 22. But yeah, I mean, you can't ask more for J-Mac, man. He come out there, he make the right play every time. He get us into the right sets. He just know how to control the game, man, I feel like.
With that lineup, like, are you hoping that lineup that started the 4th is something that maybe becomes a consistent thing that you guys go to during games?
I don't know. Don't try to do that. One thing I was ask y'all, don't try to put me in the bad spot to answer these questions. I don't know, man. I just play. All I do is I get paid to go out there and do what I love, and I don't care who I'm on the court with. I'm gonna have fun regardless.
We'll go last to Dan. Dan, go ahead.
And how would you grade your defense thus far this season?
I think when I'm going against like a premier offensive player, I think like my defense is a lot better. But tonight, I think I made I got blew by a couple times by people that I shouldn't be getting blew by. Didn't contest a lot of shots today. I think I need to work on like, even when I'm not guarding the best player, I still got to act like I'm guarding the best player. So I got to be better.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ann.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ann.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.